Morning. I've had a lot of people ask me how I've been coping so well with the lockdown, so I figured I'd do a video and talk about a few tips that I've learned over the past 9 weeks, things that I've put in place and things that have worked. So everybody's got their own little coping mechanisms, but some of this might work for you, some of it might not, but have a think about it anyway. So my first tip is to keep busy. Keeping busy obviously keeps your mind occupied, it stops you worrying. So it's finding things to do, whether it's clearing out your crap drawer, reorganising your wardrobe, fixing a shelf that you meant to do like 7 months ago, anything like that. Find it, do it. Okay, it keeps your brain occupied, it stops you stressing out. So that's the first tip. Second tip is to plan your day. Okay, so for example, with me this morning, I'm doing this video. After I finish this, it'll be working out. Then I'll be going out and working on a project I've got in the garden. Then, you know, obviously food in between somewhere along the line. And then I've got this evening, I've got coursework to do, and I've got a book which I'm writing. So I've got chunks of a day. So it's littler chunks of stress to manage, rather than like one big long chunk of stress. We're putting it into bite-sized portions. So planning your day really does help with that. Tip 3, start something, start a project. Like, challenge yourself a little bit. Do something that you were supposed to do or you've wanted to do and you haven't had time for. Obviously, this is going to be variable on people's limitations at the moment, but there are opportunities to do quite a lot of things that people don't realise they can do. Myself, I'm in the process of building a summer house for the garden. Thankfully my landlady's great like that and she's let me do that. I'm also writing a novel. It's not medical based, it's a horror novel, and I like horror movies, so it's kind of very much a self-indulgent thing. And I'm doing a course. I'm doing a course on mindfulness, which I think is going to be really beneficial for me, and then for me to use that in practice. So those are the projects that I've taken on. These are things that I was going to do beforehand but never had the time to. So now I do. So I'm using those, and it's helped me a lot. Tip number 4 is to get creative. So embrace your creative side. When you were younger, did you like sketching or did you like painting? Did you find that there was something that you enjoyed doing that you didn't really have time for? Well, try it again or try something new. There's lots of videos on YouTube. If you like drawing, my son watches a channel called Jazza, Draw Jazza, I think his name is. And he's very good. He's very, very good. He's quite funny as well. So that's quite a good one. YouTube's great. So it's got so many different things on there and it's all completely free. If you want, you can take up exercising. One thing I always recommend is yoga. And everyone goes, oh, I can't do it because I'm not flexible enough. You're not supposed to be flexible initially. That's kind of the whole point. So yeah, have a look at that, but always do beginners if you've never done it before. Or you can do little dance-offs. You can have little Zoom cool dance-offs with your friends, or get the kids involved. Depends on what your circumstances are. But there is loads and loads of resources out there to have a bit of fun. Now, the next one I recommend, highly recommend, is adding some humour to your day. There's a lot to worry about at the moment, and everybody's stressing out about things, which is understandable. But yeah, it's just giving yourself that time just to try and laugh about something. So whether it's watching videos of puppies doing weird things, or stand-up comedy on Netflix, or just general comedy, just try and add some of that to your day. Personally, I highly recommend Chris D'Elia, Miss You When a Blink. This is brilliant. He's really weird, but he's really brilliant. So I highly recommend him. But yeah, it's speculative. It depends on what sort of thing you like. Now onto the slightly more negative stuff. We don't have terrestrial television here. Now, I got rid of that when we moved here because I noticed that it made me hate things more than I needed to, and it got me to be more stressed out than I really needed to be. So I'm not going to tell you to get rid of television because it's obviously there's not a place to say that, but I will say try and limit the amount of news that you watch. The news tends to repeat the same thing over and over again, so if you think about it, it's like programming. It's just constantly negative, constantly worrying, and it gets you to worry. And I'm not going to say anything about the BBC or anything like that. It's another completely different ball game. But it's not good for your mental health if you're constantly be subjected to negative imagery, negative news, negative wording. So try and limit that as much as you possibly can. The same goes for social media, because there's a lot of discussion about the coronavirus. There's lots of discussion about conspiracy theories. And again, that will worry you. So try and limit that. And it just takes some of the edge off a little bit and see how you feel. I mean, give it a couple of days of limiting it right before and right after, and leave a comment below so we can see whether or not it's actually helped you. But it's made quite a bit of difference for a lot of people when I suggested this to them. So go for it or don't, it's up to you, but it can really help. On top of that, I highly recommend, if you can, I mean, obviously we've got the socialisation and things now, and which is again, it's variable depending on people's perspectives of it, but if you are self-isolating and you aren't able to get out of the house, talk to people. I know, yeah, it seems really simple, but talk to people, whether you're using the chat lines, whether you're ringing your friends up, whether you're ringing up family. Talk to someone. It's social interaction, and it can make a big difference. If you're feeling bad, talk to someone. If you're not feeling bad, talk to someone. It does make a big difference. So highly encourage that. You need to talk to people at least once a day. Try and break it up a little bit and vary it so it's not just the same person as well, because that can also drive you a bit insane, but we won't go there. But you can literally it just changes your day and you get an outside perspective on things as well. So ideally try not to talk about the coronavirus though, because that's not very helpful. It's morning, it's coffee. Okay, so on top of that, and talking to people and getting involved in things like that, that's pretty much most of what I've been doing. I do also recommend that you try and make sure that you're not eating stupidly, because diet and gut health can also affect your mental health. If you can, get hold of some probiotics if you're not already on those. Highly recommend them. They really do affect your mental health. If you look on Amazon Prime, if you've got Amazon Prime, there is a documentary called The Gut, Our Second Brain. It's amazing. I highly recommend that. But yeah, it's a case of just micromanaging everything. If you've got any other tips that you think are useful, feel free to put them below. The more the merrier. Obviously, again, keep it clean. But yeah, it's not easy, and you've got to remember that you've never experienced anything like this before. None of us have. Okay, so they're racing up the A24 again. None of us have experienced any of this. So this is all brand new, and it's all a massive learning curve. And the fact that you are here and you are looking at ways of dealing with it, that's a really good thing. That's a really positive thing. And you need to celebrate the fact that that is positive. And the fact that you've come this far, that is also very positive. So you might be beating yourself up about, oh, maybe I'm not doing enough, or maybe I've eaten too much, or it's fine. We've all had our own little coping mechanisms. It doesn't make you any different from anybody else, okay? It's your coping mechanism. But the fact that you are looking into it, that is actually a very positive sign. So keep doing that. As I said before, feel free to like the video, to subscribe to the page, and if you like, you can join our Facebook group, which is on the channel. The link is on the channel. If you've got any questions or any other tips, then pop them below, and I wish you the best for the rest of the day.